this is a very mind-boggling statement that has come from an ATS officer who has broken his silence after years. Do you think at that point of time there was a concerted effort to create a myth of Hindu terror whereby senior RSS leaders could be just straight away targeted? Is that correct?
It's 100% correct. It was an attempt by the then government in the center to peddle a myth of Hindu terror, number one. I have read out a lot of evidences, I have put out a lot of documents on record which could be accessed by the public domain. I have not said anything which is a part of the office record, but certainly public domain. Having said that, yes, there was a concerted effort repeatedly, whether, see, let us take from as May 2004, the UPA gets to power, and June 2004, what they do, they bring in the Pakistani supported Fidain Ishrat Jahan and the Javed Mohammad Sheikh. The other two were Pakistanis, Amjad Rana and Decent Rohar. Then you go to Samjhauta blast. Again, the same thing was peddled. Hindus have to be shown. Whereas Arif Kasmani, the head of the criminal syndicate who was tasked with the job, he blew the vessel. But unfortunately, what happened was the Pakistani in the Samjhauta blast escaped back to Pakistan within 14 days. Now, next you go to Makkah Masjid again. There are several other, I'm going to some of the prominent ones where the judgments have really affirmed this fact that Hindus would go to jail for every Pakistani or every Muslim who would commit a terror attack. The narrative was not just Hindu terror, it was motivating the terrorists to go and attack so that some Hindus could be, some RSS, some Bajrang Dal, some Vishwa Hindu Parishad people could be behind the bars and charged, and without filing the charges, they will rot in jail. That was the entire narrative which was peddled by the UPS Sarkar from 2004 to 2014.
Mr. Mani, there are two things. One is to have an ideological issue and to do things which are incorrect, unconstitutional, illegal. But the second thing is, was it an attempt to fix BJP, because at that point of time government felt that if you fix RSS leaders, you fix Bharatiya Janata Party, so you were fixing the opposition.
Basically, it was sort of an attempt to eradicate the opposition. Any opposition, BJP was the most strongest opposition. They had 2004, they had already demitted office after having completed a 5-year term, and prior to that 13 months. So it was the only challenging party. All others were on the same side. So basically, to finish off the opposition, to eradicate any opposition, that is number one. That's the basic premise of it. The methodology used was their own captive voters. They believed that Muslims are their captive voters. I do not know whether they are or not. But more importantly, what was the outcome was Pakistanis were perpetrating terror as per the replies to the parliament question. So was the Congress or the government at that point of time playing a fixed match with Pakistan? That is a larger question which comes to light after all these judgments which have come out. That's what I wanted to say.
Smita, you also covered Bharatiya Janata Party. Do you think that it was an attempt to fix the opposition?
Well, there were two very clear purposes. First of all, considering the atmosphere in the country at that time, when no single city was safe from terror attacks, no festival used to pass off peacefully, and the first headline used to be either the threat of a terror attack or blast somewhere. At that time, the government was under tremendous pressure on issues of national security, and it wanted to create a false equivalence that, look, the jihadi terror that was running amok in the country is not just the only challenge. We also have an equivalent terror, so that they can, assuage a certain section of the vote bank, which they presume to be their vote bank, and create this parallel, this equivalence to show that there are extremists on both sides of the religious divide. The second was to label the RSS, to defame the RSS in such a manner that it would not be able to recover from that, that campaign for a long, long time. And therefore, the Congress party, the political leadership at that time would have a stable, a long political run. at the center and in the states, because the RSS would be totally in a chaotic situation. When the top leadership of the organization is somehow embroiled in terror charges, whether false or true, obviously there will be a lot of demoralization. And I remember, for reasons of confidentiality, I will not name the gentleman, but I had a very serious conversation with a top line RSS functionary of that time. And he told us that we are going to fight it back tooth and nail, because once an allegation was laid upon us about the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, and we were cleared in the law courts, we were cleared everywhere, and yet that charge is put upon us every time somebody wants to, score some brownie points. So this time we will not let it stick, and we will fight it tooth and nail. And the RSS, within its cadre, not in the public domain, within its cadre, the RSS sent the message down to the last Swayam Sevak in the remotest area that this will be fought tooth and nail. And you see how it was all done. Every day, one headline used to be planted by certain people sitting here in Delhi. I know because I am privy to those conversations. And they used to say, oh, today we are going to interrogate summon so and so. Someday it was Indresh Kumar. Someday it was Ashutosh Varshane. Someday it was Ashok Berry. Another day it was some senior functionary in Maharashtra. And ultimately it came to RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. So a kind of a pressure was being created, though it was too much. It even for the Congress party at that time, which was trying to do whatever came to its mind, it was too much to lay their hands on the RSS chief. But they did interrogate some middle level functionaries, and nothing came out of those interrogations. You can find out from Jaipur and Mumbai, etc. And as Mehboob from ATS has made out, there will always be some officers who will take your instructions to a certain extent, but beyond that, they will not be able to go, because everybody has a conscience. Let me tell you today, Kartike, had all officers been so, docile to accept anything that was instructed, Colonel Prasad Purohit would not have been alive today. He is alive today because efforts to bump him off were resisted by certain people in uniform, even though some officers in uniform tortured Colonel Purohit, another officer in uniform, but beyond a point, they were not ready to take it. So some people will always stand up. They will have to suffer the consequences, but this is how the system works. And it was in a matter of about 1.5 or 2 or say 3 years that the Congress realized that it was not reaching a certain level, and slowly they started stepping back, even though the cases were on. Now, see how funny it is. Mani sir has already, flagged it, so I will just put it very briefly. What happened in Samjhauta Blast? The real culprits got a great golden chance to get away because you wanted to create a certain theory. Finally, those people, Asimanand and the other people, they were let off because nothing could be proved. Similarly, in Makkah Masjid in Hyderabad, only in Ajmer, a few people were convicted.
Okay.
But there also Swami Asimanand and senior functionaries whom they wanted to indict, nothing could be proved against them because the case was so shoddy